This podcast is for entertainment and informational purposes only. The views expressed by the hosts are their own and should not be construed as definitive or factual.
Listeners are encouraged to conduct their own research and form their own conclusions. Discretion is advised as some topics may be sensitive or controversial. This is Babe, Let's Join a Cult. Fucking cats.
Fucking cats.
Hey guys, welcome back to Babe, Let's Join a Cult. We are here on episode 5 today, joined with Babe,
The one and only.
the one and only. Last week, you did the story, right?
Last week I did the story.
Nice.
I know.
You did great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was our most watched episode to date.
Wow, really?
Yes.
But just on YouTube, I thought.
Just on YouTube.
Just on
Correct.
YouTube.
Yeah, we don't have as many viewers or watchers or whatever, listeners on Spotify as we do on YouTube.
Nice.
Surprisingly. I figured that
Thanks,
people.
though.
Yeah, thank you everyone for watching, supporting, commenting, talking shit.
Let us know
all
what
the
you
same.
thought of Babe taking over the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's gonna do another one soon, so I can catch up on things.
Yeah. We'll mix it up from time to time. It is helpful to do that when I have a little more time or you have a little more time.
You have a lot more time.
Primarily your thing.
You've
What
been
makes you
working a
say
lot
that?
lately.
Thank you.
My trophy wife.
Yeah, right. I'm not hot enough to be a trophy wife.
Participation award wife.
Eat me.
You said it, I didn't.
Hey, you know what? My generation, everyone gets a trophy.
Is that your generation? I thought
No,
it was
it's
mine.
right after mine. My dad would never.
Yeah.
No chance. I think there was a book. There's some book that he's referenced over the years about it's something about everyone getting a trophy, and he like does not agree. Not a fan. Not a fan of that motto.
Because he wants the trophy.
No, it's about earning the trophy.
Oh, yes, earning the trophy.
Yes, you must earn the trophy.
Earn it. This feels better.
Anyway, beside the point, that is not a rabbit hole we need to go down.
No,
We
anyways.
are here for cults.
We're here for cults, and episode 5 today, it's a little bit of a chill episode. A little bit.
Yeah, we're cozy.
I feel like we've had a lot of pretty intense cults so far, and we're going to keep them rolling, but you got to throw in some chill.
One more time. I didn't quite catch what that was.
Got to throw in some of the chill ones
right on.
too.
Are we playing dice?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I was throwing it in.
Throwing the die.
Yeah, baby.
Okay, cool.
Anyways, it's episode 5.
Episode 5.
Taking a little chill one. This episode is titled Where It All Began. This one was kind of
How wholesome.
I know. It was kind of a request from my dad.
Oh, okay, cool.
Shout out, Dad.
Hey, Nobu Nick's getting his own episode. Episode 5.
I know. He's going to get a couple. But
cool.
I was like, hey, Dad, like, what cult should I do next? Boo Bear, I think you gotta look back. Look into ancient cults, see where it all began.
I agree with that.
All right.
We've talked about that. A lot of them are likely to be religious. And
don't worry, I'll go over a little bit of it.
I'll take a step back. I'm still excited from last week.
Yeah. I know, you just want to do all the talking.
I do.
Blake's show.
It is Blake's show now. It's mine.
No, but this one was just he was like, looking at ancient cults. So I did, and I found this one. Ooh, anyways, hang on. First.
What are we looking up here?
The pronunciation of his name.
Oh no.
This
is going to be one of those. Y'all ready for this? It's going to be one of
those. This one's tough for me.
All right.
It's wordy. It's like history wordy.
Let's hear it. Let me see. Akhenaten.
But it doesn't look like that when you're reading it.
Akhenaten. Okay.
Akhenaten. Everybody now. Akhenaten.
Yes.
Ooh, I feel like we're starting the cult. Akhenaten.
We should. Yeah.
Yes, I read this. I read it out loud in the living room, and Caitlin walked in, and then I like pretended like I wasn't reading out loud.
Why? What's wrong with reading out loud?
Nothing. She didn't say anything. It just felt awkward. Anyway. Shall we dive in?
If you'd like to. Do you want to yell at the cats one more time?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to do? Do you have to pee?
No, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah, do we need to restart?
No,
Okay.
we're not allowed to. No more. From here on out, no more cuts, no more restarts.
No, because you're gonna
The
say
only
something that has to
disadvantage,
get
yeah, I
cut
was gonna
out.
say I'm the only one that will be negatively impacted by that.
You always say something that has to be cut out.
I do. I do. I do. So
Any
far, every episode,
anyways,
multiple times an episode.
anyways,
Please take it away.
I will. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The concept of cults has existed for thousands of years, and the definition has evolved over time. Sorry, I just
Someone practice this one out loud.
I just really wanted to make intense eye contact with it. The term originally referred to religious practices or rituals devoted to a specific deity, which wasn't inherently negative. However, the modern understanding of cult is as a socially deviant or controlling group emerged more recently, and so far, those have been the cases we've been looking into. As humanity has modernized and changed throughout the years, decades, and centuries, so has the structure of cults. But like most every tradition we share today, it stems back to the history of where it first began. And although shaped and molded into different things, there is always the underlying origin that those have evolved from. What are you looking at?
What does your shirt say?
It says I got a lobotomy at
Oh,
Toyotathon.
I thought it said I got a lobotomy done at Hot Topic.
That'd be
That's
that'd be
actually really
good.
good. Maybe that'll be our t-shirt.
No, it's I got a lobotomy at Toyotathon.
Oh, okay.
Gabe and I have matching ones.
Mine says the end is meow. Ooh, maybe that should be our cult podcast thing is we each wear a different thing, like shirt or saying on our t-shirt or whatever. And
Mhm.
whoever wins like most votes from that episode week gets to do the next week's podcast.
Ooh,
That could be fun.
or some yeah, but we're gonna try to record in advance, but we will see. But
Sure. We
anyways,
can plan ahead.
pause the cult story. So we need everybody who's watching to leave a comment below, comment on the gram, DM us, email us. I don't care. Whose shirt is better? I got a lobotomy at Toyotathon or the end is meow.
It's not fair because you have boobs. I
Not
feel like I'm at a I
I
mean,
have as much boobs as you do. And that's my
here,
hoodie.
here. The end is meow.
There you go.
Who wins? I can't. That's too small.
So are mine.
Okay.
That's my
Anyway,
shirt anyway.
yeah, it doesn't mean I can't. Every week, I also wear a pair of your clothing.
Yeah.
And if you ever can't see specifically what it is on the outside, it's probably your panties.
Your dad's gonna be like,
Oh, he's
hey.
gonna, dude. He didn't even like I was wearing your sweatpants. He said he was listening, and then he
And then
heard
he
that I was
stopped
wearing your clothes, and
listening.
he walked away. Like
Yeah.
that's support right there.
Mhm.
Right.
Anyways, let us know whose shirt
He's
wins
probably
this
wearing
week.
something of Lisa's in the closet.
Can I get back to the
Yeah,
story?
yeah, for sure.
All right. Where were we? But like most every tradition we share today, it stems back to the history of where it first began. And although shaped and molded into different things, there's always the underlying origin that those have evolved from. Today, we are looking at one of the earliest documented cults that laid the ground rules and the basic framework of how we categorize cults in modern times.
Ooh, right on. So
Yeah.
around this time frame is when the transition began to occur where we saw them negatively.
No.
Oh,
No. Still back then, it was kind of like the term that referred to like religious practice and
okay.
deities. This cult, though, just had some of those key cult characteristics that we
Got it.
still use today to classify cults.
Okay.
I think we have a post on our Instagram about like the 10 signs you're in a cult, kind of those things.
Okay.
And
Sweet.
we talk about them in every episode.
Right. Yeah, in one way or another, we're like, hey, there it is again. Hey, there's that again.
Yeah, it's like that repeating pattern of, oh, that's a cult red flag, that's a cult red flag. So this story kinda it was like the first documented parts of this
Got it.
that went down in history for those.
Okay. That makes sense. Sweet.
Brr.
Are you cold?
Yeah. Wanna switch
Do you want my
shirts?
hoodie? I should wear that. That's the shirt I'll wear next week.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Say it with me. Akhenaten.
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 Duh. Akhenaten.
No, it's 10.
Okay. Akhenaten.
Akhenaten.
Sure.
I see how it's spelled.
Okay. Then however it's spelled.
Akhenaten was a pharaoh of Egypt's 18th dynasty reigning from around 1353 to 1336 BCE. Way back.
Man, fuck being president. Fuck being a king or a
Be a
queen. Be a
pharaoh.
pharaoh.
It just sounds
That's
cool.
sick. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I want to be a pharaoh.
King Akhenaten was a controversial figure during his reign of power. He was this is like a little fun fact I put in there. He was King Tut's father.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we all know who King Tut is.
So was King Tut actually Pharaoh Tut?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, they refer
Sounds
to
kinkier.
Pharaoh Tut.
Pharaoh Tut. I don't know. Something about it.
It
It
sounds
depends
like
on
a
how you
cool
say it. In my
club.
head, it sounded kinkier than when I say it out loud.
Nah, I imagine
But
that as like a fun like dance club.
Pharaoh Tut.
Mhm. Pharaoh Tut. Ooh, and
It sounds like
it's like
something
a
you'd go to
temple.
jail for. You know?
No.
Pharaoh Tut? What did he do?
He Pharaoh
He
Tut.
Pharaoh Tutted.
Ooh. Anyways, he revolutionized religion by eliminating all gods of the Egyptian traditional worship and instead focusing on a more minor deity that he believed to be the one and only supreme god. Early in his reign, he followed the traditional polytheistic
I believe you. Poly, yeah, polytheistic, theistic. I don't know.
poly
Say it with confidence. No one's gonna look it up. Last
polytheistic.
week I pronounced what's his face's name wrong the
Oh,
entire
the whole
podcast.
time, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Poly ah, he followed Early in his reign, he followed the traditional polytheistic religion of Egypt. Traditionally, Traditional polytheistic religion involved the beliefs and rituals that centered around many deities. However, he radically shifted to exclusive worship of Aten, a deity associated with the sun disk, Zu. Zu was a pharaoh. Akhenaten, like many to come, was able to attract and inspire many with his personality. He was considered very charismatic, loving, and insightful. He was also granted high power with his role of pharaoh, but this only further contributed to his character. The shift in religion that he was driven to begin was not only going to be done through political standing and power, but also by demanding from himself personal magnetism and the ability to inspire devotion. Akhenaten's propaganda depicted him as a loving family man, often showing him with his wife, Queen Nefertiti, and their children in intimate settings, further knitting the relationship with his followers as it showed a private side that they could relate to within their own lives. This portrayed reinforcement this this portrayal reinforced his role as a reliable and relatable yet godlike figure who could bridge the human and the divine.
Hmm.
As we know, one of the key signs of cult is a charismatic leader that draws followers in with their electrifying energy, and Akhenaten was the man who inspired so powerfully that it remains as a key part of identifying cults and their leaders.
Interesting. It's not often that leaders on a large scale like that, like he was a pharaoh, right? He
Mhm,
commanded a serious degree of influence. It's not often that they're classified as cult leaders,
mhm,
you know? Like people that govern or kings and queens, even though they may have cult like characteristics, we don't look back in history and be like, that was a cult leader,
mhm.
which is interesting.
Yeah, and you have to remember, like, cult, the word cult has been so modernized, so it means something different now. But in terms, then looking back, they could classify him as a cult leader.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even thinking more recently, um, like thinking like Stalin and Hitler and those
Mhm.
folks, like we don't look back and be like, he was a cult leader, but damn right he was a
He
cult
was a
leader.
cult leader.
So I find that fascinating that we it's exclusive to smaller groups
Mhm.
or leaders with certain demographic of influence, not such a totalitarian.
Yeah, and I think just also because like, it's so hard to call out the big guys, right?
Of course. That's
It
why so many things now slip through the cracks of being totally cultish
Yeah, and
that are
it's
embedded in
even
our
hard to, like,
society.
call big religions cults,
Right.
which they are, but, like, because it's such a big thing, a lot of like, no one's gonna wanna deal with that can of worms,
Right.
so
Okay. I just yeah, just
but
an
yeah, no,
interesting
I agree.
observation.
Um, Akhenaten believed he could shift the traditional religious beliefs of Egypt. Traditionally, they believed in many deities, over 1,500. He dialed his ideologies onto one specific deity, Aten. Aten, the deity chosen by Akhenaten as the focus of his revolutionary religious movement, represents a unique and intriguing figure in the history of Egyptian religion. Deep breath. Aten was not a new god, but rather a pre existing aspect of the sun deity Ra that Akhenaten elevated to supreme importance. Aten was not depicted in human or animal form, rather, he was depicted as a physical disk of the sun with rays extending downward, ending with hands that were symbolized as bestowing life and blessings. This abstract representation was unusual for Egyptian religion, emphasizing Aten's universality and transcendence. I'm just
you are you don't do yourself any favors when
I
you
know.
write these. It reminds me of I think I told you the story.
I like big words in my
I
head.
was at a music festival and I had put my car in a, precarious situation
Mhm.
and left it and then went and did a bunch of drugs. And then realized while in the midst of being on said drugs, I had to move my car. And I was like, oh man, sober Blake does no
I
favors for mushroom
know.
Blake. And it's kind of the same scenario. It's like when you're writing these, you're not doing yourself
I
any
know,
favors
and
with
it doesn't help.
pronunciation.
It also doesn't help that it's late right now.
Right.
It's late. I just worked all day. I'm tired, and these are hard
You're
words.
doing a great
Big
job.
hard words on
I'm
this
proud of
cult
you. I'm proud
podcast.
of you. It's okay. I'll give you a trophy after.
You are a trophy.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Lucky me.
Aten was described as the creator and sustainer of all life, responsible for the great existence of humans, animals, plants, and the natural order. In hymns, like the great hymn to Aten, the deity is praised for providing light, food, and life to the entire world. The great hymn to Aten, found in the tomb of Akhenaten, officially provides insight to Aten's attributes and the theology Akhenaten developed. Key themes included Aten as the sole creator of life, Aten's light as the source of goodness, sustaining all living things, Aten's universality, extending his blessings to all the lands and people, not just Egypt, and the daily cycle of the sun, with Aten bringing life by day and rest by night.
Okay, so Aten's really the cult leader here.
No, Aten is who they worship.
I know. I'm
But
saying
yes,
that like
yeah.
usually cult leaders are like, it's me. I'm your connection to this.
Oh, just wait.
Oh, okay. Jumping ahead here.
Akhenaten positioned himself as the unique intermediary between Aten and humanity.
Ah.
Aha.
Ding
Worship.
ding ding. We
Ding,
have a
ding,
cult
ding. Here
leader,
we go.
everybody.
Worship
We need
was
a little bell.
I know.
We have our
Signs of a
cult as soon
cult.
as the cult leading really begins. We're like, there he is, cult leader.
Mhm. The first red flag.
Mm-hmm.
Worship was directed to Aten through him, enhancing his central role, therefore solidifying himself as the centralized leader. He was able to enforce his ideologies with absolute authority,
Dude, you are
suppressing any outside question or distaste. I'm tired.
okay.
Akhenaten's new religion, often called Atenism,
Okay.
focused exclusively on Aten as one true god. He declared other deities obsolete, disrupting the polytheistic, polytheistic traditions that had shaped Egyptian life for millennia. Temples to traditional gods were shut down and their images were defaced. He removed Egypt's capital from Thebes to a new city called Akhenaten. It's modern day Amarna
Okay.
in Egypt.
Wow, he was transforming. everything about.
Well, he was a pharaoh, so might as well.
Yeah, I mean, leave your mark.
Yeah.
I don't understand the benefit of removing other, like, you're already at the pinnacle of authority
Mhm.
as a pharaoh,
Mhm.
right? And so I don't totally understand the benefit to him to remove all of these other deities and only worship the one, except for the fact that he is the channel to that one.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
More power.
Yeah, right. It's like you don't have enough as a pharaoh, you have to be a cult leader too.
Yeah. It also just seems like a lot to shut down the temples that they had,
Yeah, but I get it now because if these people are connecting their spirituality, excluding him, he wanted to be the source of
like the
people's
funnel.
connection, the
Yeah.
funnel to spiritual connection, thus granting him even more authority, even more power,
I would
and
just though like
extreme swings of like influence that way. I get it now.
I would like revamp the temple though. I feel like it's a waste to just shut it down.
I would turn it into what?
The new temple.
Like a brothel?
No. He also defaced like
So
all
that's a place
other
of worship.
he also defaced like all other um like arts and like sketchings of the other gods.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Hmm. Did he burn any
Uh
books?
Probably. I
Yeah.
don't think they had yeah, scrolls. I don't know what they had.
Burning scrolls, yeah. They may not
Burning
have, were they
tablets.
writing anything at the time?
Yeah.
I don't know when we started
Egyptian
writing things down, I don't know.
hieroglyphics.
Oh, yeah, hieroglyphics, but I'm saying, like, were we documenting books and things that
I don't think so. I don't know
probably
though.
not?
I didn't research that part.
Either way, he
Specifically
sounds like a guy
cults.
that would have burned them.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyways, he moved his new city capital to modern day Amarna,
Okay.
a purpose built city dedicated to Aten.
Mhm.
This physical separation emphasized the exclusivity of Atenism and isolated its adherents from the broader population. In modern definitions and signs of cults, we know that a big red flag is the separation or isolation of the group from the rest of society. Many cults organize their members into a specific area, whether it be housing, where they work, their place of worship. But this designated space for the group supports the exclusivity. Can't say that word. I can't say a lot of words. Having a rough one of it, and also the separation from outside influence. Common practices. So, like all cults, there were specific common practices that the members would take part in. These included direct worship through Akhenaten to Aten, open air, open aired temples. So normally Egyptian temples were closed,
Mhm.
but these new temples like were open in the sky, so that could allow for like sun since he was like a sun god.
That seems like a benefit.
Yeah, allow
So
for
far,
like
I'm about
sun
it.
and fresh air.
Yeah.
Daily solar rituals, the role of hymns, so like the great hymn of Aten, exclusion of all other deities, centralized worship in Amarna, offerings to Aten, artistic innovations, highlighting so like in these new art pieces, it would like highlight the connection of Akhenaten's family to Aten. Songs of praise and devotion, and strict monotheism. So
One god.
one god. Not so bad, honestly, so far.
Yeah, it doesn't sound all that extreme. I mean,
Mm-mm.
outside of limiting your freedom of how you connect spiritually, it seems like he laid a pretty strong foundation for modern day religions
Mhm. And modern day cults.
and, of course, modern day cults.
But
Weird. Those sound
weird.
like synonyms in this moment.
Oh,
Odd.
connecting dots and discovering things here on Babe Let's Join a Cult. So, my next bullet points are how followers and members were expected to behave. So, obedience to Akhenaten, followers were expected to obey him as the earthly representative of Aten. His decrees were both religious and political mandates, which would make sense. So he's pharaoh and he's cult
Right.
leader.
Yeah. Combination of church and state.
Yeah, love that.
Hmm.
Uh, Reverence for Aten's light, Worship practices likely included daily gestures of respect towards the sun and hymns of praise to Aten for the blessing of light and life. Loyalty to Akhenaten. Oh, loyalty to Akkad, the place they were living, Amarna. Residents, particularly those in Akhenaten's inner circles, were expected to fully adapt to the Atenist way of life, both religiously and culturally. So, why did he choose Aten out of all other gods?
That is a great question.
Since there were like 1,500.
I would have chosen Jesus.
Not me.
I don't even know if he's around at this point.
No, I think this is before Christ.
BC.
Yeah, it is. It's BCE.
We definitely weren't writing things down back then.
No. By promoting Aten, Akhenaten bypassed this institution, consolidating religious, political, and economic power under his own authority.
Bingo.
Bingo, baby.
There's always a reason for the rhyme.
Yep. Philosophical shift. Athens emphasized on light, life, and universal creation reflected a philosophical departure from the localized, ritual-focused worship of Egypt's traditional gods. Big words
That's a
today.
lot of words in a
I
sandwich.
This is a very...
Hopefully y'all at home, hopefully you guys are pepped and coffeeed up and
I know, this is like a
carrying along with
history
us.
lesson. I'm sorry. I just feel like it's important to know the ground.
Yeah, definitely.
After Akhenaten's death, Atenism was dismantled.
No legacy for Akhenaten, except for this podcast. We're doing his memory justice here.
Mhm.
No, it's this, babe.
All original old gods that were once worshipped were restored to the traditional religion and ways of worship. Aten's temple was soon abandoned. Akhenaten's name and religion were wiped from the records as they returned to their ways.
Wow, so people were not in support of the changes he made, it sounds like.
People in power, no.
Mm-hmm.
Aten's brief yet prominent time in the light displayed one of the first forms of monotheism and also showed how one could revolutionize a culture and the beliefs within it.
Was King Tut who followed him? Like, his son would have come next, and so his son then reversed all of this?
I should have looked that up.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that right when I was reading this. I didn't look it up.
Okay.
But I would assume so because King Tut ruled as a pharaoh.
Right. So then it would have been under King Tut's reign that he decided, hey, my dad and all the things he did were incorrect.
Or like maybe it was that middle time.
Yeah, because it didn't always sequence properly.
Yeah, so like he passed and then their political party or whatever took over, brought back what once was, and then King Tut took office. Why do I talk? Took temple, took
I don't know what pharaohs
pyramid.
have.
I don't know.
Took castle.
Pyramids.
Sand dune.
Anyways, before King Tut
people.
was then Pharaoh, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Was he mummified?
King Tut?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was his dad?
I don't know. I was focusing on the cult stuff, but it would be interesting to look into.
We could do a mummy podcast.
Ooh. I thought I just recently read something about the discovery on King Tut's tomb, but I don't remember.
I can't believe we're still discovering things like that.
Because that stuff was important. That stuff was so cool.
And I mean, so mysterious and hidden and back doors and crazy temples. Yeah.
Think of the pyramids. Think of the Sphinx.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts. Modern day machinery today, it would take a while.
Right.
And you would have to have a lot.
Yeah.
But these were just people that were like, this is what we're making.
I'm more fascinated by things that we find in the rainforest and stuff where they do those big scans and they find civilizations that have long gone,
and stuff.
of course, yeah. Where they're able to find those. I don't know what that scanning style is called, but I think that's awesome.
That reminds me of, we're so off track here, but that reminds me of on the island where my dad is from. They have Nanmadal, which is
seventh wonder of the world or whatever. What is it?
Eighth wonder of the world is what they call it.
Because there's 7. Mm-hmm.
But it's believed there's theories around it being the lost city of Atlantis because it's this temple It's beautiful. It has like some sort of its own electrical magnetism, but it's half underwater. But like he grew up playing on it. But that's just nuts to think because those stones were so big that machines today would struggle.
Right. Yeah, there's a couple examples like that.
Where aliens were real? Were
Aliens,
giants
man.
real?
I think in the last couple years, our governments have come out and said, "Hey, aliens are real." Like we have documented interactions with aliens.
I believe I believe aliens are real.
I can see it.
Ooh, have you ever watched this episode reminds me of Ancient Aliens?
No, I haven't seen any of that.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to watch. I mean, there has to be, you know? Like I was thinking about it today. There's some article I was reading about how Google has created some crazy intelligent, sophisticated computerized chip that's going to revolutionize so much of how we function
Mhm.
um technologically, and it just made me go, I'm like doing every bit I can to form sentences every day, you know? And there's
Tell
people
me
out here,
about
yeah, I
it.
know. There's people out here, that's why I said that. There's people out here who are creating master computer chips. It's like there are leagues to this.
And meanwhile, I can't
And
pronounce words.
right. And I just, hearing pharaohs, it's like society has always created these sections where people fit and how you contribute to society.
Mhm.
And it's interesting. I am not making computer chips, clearly. I'm wearing a cat shirt that says it ends meow.
No, the
That's
end is
my
meow.
exactly. That's my contribution to the world today. And I think I don't know if it's an alien thing. I don't know if we're all different alien things that landed here, or some sort of matrix thing, but
The Matrix.
it is it's a rabbit hole to go down,
Yeah, now Blake's gonna be up all night just because we
or
talked
a
about it.
cat hole.
She was so warm under there. She was laying under the pillow in my legs, and it was so nice and warm. Anyways, where were we? Um, Akhenaten, while a visionary for his time, could be considered an authoritarian leader, which we know is key in the cult dynamics. We also know that with this leadership, there is a potential for both strong changes and also the fragility in those ideologies and leaderships. They may rise fast but crumble quicker.
Evidence of how his religion didn't continue.
So, first documented possibility of authoritarian leadership. Ding, 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 big
Ding,
red
ding, ding.
flag.
Cult leader.
By looking into the past, we are able to see how Akhenaten's leadership resembled many of the traits we look for today in modern cults. Charismatic leadership. He was the sole interpreter of divine will, similar to leaders like Jim Jones and David Korsh.
You should know who those are. You put them in your write up. Who is that?
I don't know how to say his last name. Exclusivity. By the isolation of Atenism, mm, mirrored the mirrored many other groups and cults, like the branch Davidians. Radical beliefs. His rejection of Egypt's millennia old polytheism parallels cults that break sharply from societal norms. So, breaking of societal norms. Akhenaten's story highlights the challenges of implementing revolutionary religious ideas, particularly when they are closely tied to one leader. It offers a powerful early example of how charisma and exclusivity can drive devotion, and how such movements often unravel when the leader is removed. While this is the first documented case, it may not include deviation and the brutality that we see in a lot of the cults we look at today. I think it's important to know that where those things stem from and what created the first ripple in these strongly driven movements. I'm gonna restart that.
Dude, this whole time I've been dying to be like, babe, just
I'm struggling. I'm tired.
oh, poor girl.
Akhenaten's story highlights the challenges of implementing revolutionary religious ideas, particularly when they are closely tied to one leader. It offers powerful early example of how charisma and exclusivity can drive devotion and how such movements can often unravel when the leader is removed. While this first documented case may not include the deviation and the brutality that we see in a lot of the cults we look at today, I think it's important to know where these things stem from and what created the first ripple in these strongly driven movements.
Right on. I
Yeah,
agree.
a
That
couple
was
of
good.
my random sources were the Amarna project, research of Akhenaten city, the Great Hymn of Aten, translated, of course, inscriptions and reliefs from Akhenaten.
Wait, you're telling me you didn't read these in the original language?
I did. I'm bilingual.
Oh, English is your second language. It all makes
It
sense
is.
now.
That's why I'm
You're
struggling so
doing
hard.
great. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Um, there's a couple other ones. Mostly just like college essays and
Yeah. Cool.
history books.
That's pretty sweet though.
But yeah, it's not a super, seat gripping story, but I
It
think
lays a
it's a
foundation.
base layer of cults and it went down it went down for the parallels that it can draw to modern day cults.
Right. Well, and I'm glad too it sheds light on
Moo.
not all cults or not all cult discussions we're going to have are going to be these big, severe,
Yeah, like
dramatic,
horrible
yeah,
people.
sexual assault and slavery and all these other things that oftentimes go along with big cult stories that make
Mhm.
the news. And oftentimes, although those are big and catastrophic, it's those silent ones that really do the most damage mentally and emotionally.
Mhm.
Um, because you never have that thing to be like, that was fucked up or that was wrong. If you
Mhm.
never have that and you never have the reason to resist or the reason to wake up out of whatever cult scenario a person might find themselves in, those are the ones that like ruin your entire life.
Yeah, and this one pretty much just stayed until like his passing. Then people were like, wait, 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 no. And then
We're
they were
not
like,
about
we're
that.
just going to start over again.
Yeah.
But
Good. I'm glad that they were able to shift back. I hope it was a benefit to do so. I
yeah,
don't know enough about that time frame, but
and I mean, reading about just like his reign as pharaoh and like his worship, it like it wasn't like out of ill intent or
hmm,
like bad. Of course, it was a little power hungry, but
yeah.
they were worshiping the sun deity that was like said to bring life and light and all the good things.
I'm curious the reason that he dismantled the previous religious power structure. I wonder what his intention was, if it was because he was power hungry or if because he saw negative cultural impact from the original power structure of they weren't nuns, but basically like however it was structured before.
Yeah, the priesthood.
Yeah, the priesthood,
Um,
nunhood.
yeah, and maybe he just related
Hmm.
to that one god and that made sense to him. He's like, well, if this is like life and food and light
Right. Then
and
that's what we should
everything, like
worship.
why
Yeah.
why isn't that just what we're worshiping? Because a lot of the gods, if you look at Egyptian gods, there's so many, like, and they all kind of play a different role.
Hmm.
I think Aten's was just kind of like a broad like life creation,
Right. Hmm.
but there's some that are like darker or more irrelevant.
I like too that they're a bit more naturalistic.
Mhm.
Same with like Indian deities and Indian culture. They're more naturalistic in that way too, where, there's gods and deities related to the ocean and to the
Mhm.
sky and to the moon and to Mother Earth. And I appreciate that because it gives a sense of connection to something a little more tangible.
Mhm. I agree.
Yeah, right. So it's like
Yeah.
I kind of appreciated that he worshipped the sun like god. Doesn't seem like a negative to me.
Yeah, and I mean, not that I mean, of course, this was ancient Egypt and there were things done to people that you would never do today. Like there's
Right.
slavery and there's like all sorts of
Absolutely.
abuse of power.
It didn't rain today, so we have to
We must sacrifice the child.
sacrifice. Yeah, exactly.
Not a bad thing. No.
Wow.
I
Someone's
get
pro
it.
abortion.
I just but looking at it, I mean, I looked a little, I didn't super dig, but I was like what happened to followers like who disobeyed? Like not a whole lot. They just kind of were like, go
Mhm.
back to the old ways, whatever.
Hmm.
Like, there wasn't a whole lot of that deviant brutality
Yeah. I mean,
other than, like, what was already happening then
right,
anyway.
right. Yeah, different times.
Different times, yeah. People
It's
had
funny
tougher
what's
skin.
acceptable, just different eras of history, what we were conditioned to be good with, and society was like, "Yep, that's just what happens."
Mhm.
It seems
Sacrifice.
as, although we have our issues now currently,
We
I
could
would
use
say
more sacrifice.
we've also come a long way from sacrificing people
Oh, yeah,
because it
yeah.
didn't rain, or, we needed something related to harvest, or
Or
that's pretty
maybe
fascinating.
we lost the way, and we need to revert back to that because, ski seasons kinda sucked lately.
Yeah.
Sacrifice someone might not make it worse.
We are overpopulated.
Sacrifice the ginger.
You don't hear from me?
Why do you think I picked you for this, baby?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad I was chosen. I'm honored, really.
Yeah.
It's about time my life had some purpose.
Well, you're soulless, so I figured.
I'm not making microchips. The least I can do is sacrifice for snow.
Yeah. But yeah, that was kinda just our chill little late night history talk.
Yep, little late night podcast sesh.
Yeah. But
Um,
before we end,
the magic question.
so babe,
Yes, babe.
is this a cult that you would have joined?
I mean, if my
Akhenatens?
pharaoh's doing it, I'm doing it.
Yeah, I feel
It's
like
my
it'd be
boy.
pretty hard to go
Yeah,
against, but
totally. Um, it's difficult because there's no context. I think
yeah. I mean, there's not a whole it's
I'm
not well
a
documented.
right, right. I am a proponent of live and let live. And so even if I was down, I wouldn't have been on board with him regulating what everyone else was allowed to worship. I would have
Mhm.
had an issue with that. So 50-50 on that one.
Mhm.
Even if like I said, I appreciate the sun god. I'm about that, I'm about open air churches and things. That's great. All for it. But telling somebody else who they can and cannot worship, and destroying art and artifact and other people's ways of culture and worship, not really about it.
Not a fan.
I also don't really like how many syllables and consonants are in his name. They were
Akhenaten?
That's just a lot for you. And I love you more than I love my pharaoh.
Girlfriend's tired.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
I would say no. I'm gonna go with no tonight.
wow,
I know.
I thought that would have been one you would have been like, "Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll be there."
I probably would have ended up wandering through the desert looking for dates.
And you would have been
Not women, date
sacrificed.
palms.
Oh, you do ooh, I want dates and peanut butter.
That does sound good. All right,
Alright.
post podcast snack, dates and peanut butter.
Yeah, before bed.
Hey,
It's
thanks
bedtime.
y'all. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us for the late night history
Yeah, don't
session.
forget to, comment, subscribe, do all the things.
Let us know whose shirt was better.
Catch us in the street and throw shit at us from your car.
Don't do that other than to the ginger, sacrificial ginger.
Yeah. We'll have a couple shirts coming out one of these days.
Someday.
Somewhere we're cataloging these funny little things we can create.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, support your local businesses, listen to your local podcasts,
Yeah.
do the things you love to do.
Subscribe, share it with a friend. Your gift to us this
Yes,
holiday
that would be
season.
sweet. You want to give us a gift? Send us to a friend.
Send us to a friend.
Send us to your friends. Send your friends to us.
Tell them to come join our cult.
Yep. All right.
All right, well, good night.
Bye, nerds.
This episode of Babe Let's Join a Cult is sponsored by Tea Tree House Teas, and let me tell you, we've been obsessed. I've been drinking their Vita Long Chai lately, and it's perfect for the season. The Lung Love blend is on deck as cold season kicks in. Tea Tree House makes these unique botanical blends that are gorgeous from start to finish with some serious magic, like their butterfly infusion that turns blue and sparkles. Plus, every tea is ethically sourced, sustainably grown, and packaged in reusable, compostable containers so that you feel good with every sip. And get this, with each purchase, they plant a tree to help protect endangered plants. It's like a small little ritual with a big impact. You can get yours at teatreehouse.com and use our code BabeLet'sJoinACult for 10% off. That's BabeLet'sJoinACult at teatreehouse.com. And trust me, you'll find your new favorite tea so you can be drinking the tea and not the Kool Aid.